This is Outlaw Window Cleaner Radio, and I'm here with Richie Blue. Where, Mr. Captain Coke Can, where the fuck have you been, Richie? What the fuck, man? I said, where have you been?
Oh, dude. Well, first I want to apologize to you because I know I've been a bad friend.
Well, we talked, like every single day for 3 or 4 months? But up until Kansas City, Missouri, we talked from every day from February to October. We talked every day for at least a couple hours.
Yeah.
And then you just stopped being my friend, and it hurt my feelings a little bit. My insides were slightly hurt.
I mean, we talked a couple times, but not that much. Yeah, I agree.
Well, what I'm saying is we used to do
the facts, man.
We used to do what you call? We used to do WeChat. We used to WeChat all the time. Yeah. Responding to emails is not talking to your friend, bro. Hey, man, where are you at? I'm working. Great.
Okay, there's a couple things. Let me just, the reason why, first I'll take care of you, and then I'll, even before I left Kansas City, one of the things that's been going on the past year is I've been working really hard at, basically spending all my free time. So I go out, I clean windows every day. I have commercial business, so that I don't have gaps in my schedule. I mean, I literally work every single day, sometimes on weekends. And then I would get home. As soon as I would get home, I would immediately neglect the wife, and I would give her a kiss and say, just kidding. And then I'd go into the sewing room and I would work on prototypes. And this went on for a long time. And then I finally was like, okay, after Kansas City, especially because there was some other things that happened, I was like, I need to focus more on my business because I neglected it so much. I actually had some accounts fall out, and I wasn't. You know how it is when you do commercial work. You lose a business and you go out and you sell another one and you make up for it. And I wasn't doing any of that. So my income was starting to kind of tilter a little bit. And so I made a commitment I was going to do that and not focus on all the rest of this stuff with prototypes and social media and that kind of thing. So that was one of the reasons why I disappeared.
Right. Okay. So, you're prototyping all the time. I just, does that, I'm assuming that takes up, that's got to take up a lot of time. A lot of time, a lot of money, the whole 9 yards. That's got to, shit. And I'm sure there's no way that your wife was happy with that shit. There's no way, dude. So domestically, you were probably not doing very well either.
She's very supportive, actually. She's very supportive. And, but, I did need to kind of step back and just kind of get some balance in my life and all that. There were times I was up until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, working on stuff, and I was like, So there was that.
You had mentioned in Kansas City that you were working Smurf hours. You were working all the time, and you were like, man, it's kind of nice being here doing this because I don't have to clean windows. I don't have to sew nothing. I'm just hanging out. This is a vacation for me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and as soon as I walk into the brick and mortar store, Perry puts a paint roller and hydrant. Dude, we're going to come out here for this.
Right.
But,
yeah, I got that on tape. Me busting his balls about making hydrant paint. What a douche. He's like, what? She actually, in his defense, she asked for the paint roller. She wanted the help.
Yeah, she
can't help herself. She is a wonderful soul. She's a very, very nice lady.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah. She enjoys your company too. She mentioned that because she had a chance to talk with you at length.
Because we were in the front seat together. I was driving, she was in the passenger seat, and you were stuck in the back with crazy drunk Seth. And he was back there fawning all over you. Man, I can't believe I'm sitting back here with Richie Blue.
You know that you're a good man.
You're a good dude, man. We were having a good time at the hotel. Well, I wasn't. I had to be I had to be sober because I had to come get you and your wife.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you don't drink a lot, man, because like I was like wondering how I'm going to get. I mean, I was thinking I was going to have to spend $1,000 on Ubers, man, just getting it back and forth.
Not a drinker. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. So that's probably why I weigh 500 pounds right now. I was a skinny, strapping young lad when I was drinking beers every day. You know what I mean? I was like all svelte, super handsome.
Got an idea. I see, because I know I mentioned, just because I haven't been active in social media doesn't mean I've been watching what's going on.
Oh, you're a creeper.
I saw you do, you were talking about coming up with a cookbook or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, well, hey, man, you just gave me an idea. You could do a cookbook, and then right after that, do like a 6-minute ab video. Because there's one out now that's 7-minute abs, but I'm saying, dude, you do 6-minute abs.
Then I'm getting somewhere. Well, on the topic of cookbooks, and now that I've got you here on the spot, am I going to get the guacamole recipe in my cookbook?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
man.
going to happen? Yes.
I actually got 3. I got the main recipe, but I mean, there's a few different ways you could do it. So I'll explain that when I send you the information.
I'd
Some
appreciate
people
that.
put lemon in it. Some people like to put different things in it. Like I kind of like it just basic. That's how I make it. So extra jalapenos. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want the Richie Blue version. I want what Hydrid and Richie eat all the time. That is the basis of this cookbook, is our favorite recipes, not 3 different variations so you can appeal to a large mass of people to try to build your self-esteem once again.
No, there's that, and the kind that I like is the kind that gives you diarrhea. But it's really good, dude. it's really good. So that's it. There's that.
All right, there's that.
On the bottom of my recipe, you got to put that disclaimer in there.
Right.
Not for the faint of stomach.
Right. Well, I know. I mean, speaking of creeping on social media, I know that you have watched at least a couple podcasts because you have commented on a few. I'm just wondering, did you watch the other night's podcast, last night's podcast, when Perry was going hard body karate in the chat? He kind of took it over a little bit, to be honest with you, man. I gotta tell you, I'm just gonna say this now. I was a little pissed about the way that went down. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, and the reason why I feel that way is because, as you've stated, you haven't really been very vocal about everything that's going on. And I know you see what we're saying, and you know why we're saying what we're saying, because we're pissed off. Because we felt like what we tested's not being delivered, and we feel like he's there must be something going on between the two of you to get you to not speak. So, you clearly weren't happy. But what upset me is like he wanted to come on the show live while we were recording and just pop in, and there was no, like you, we haven't heard from Perry since Kansas City, Missouri, and there was nothing that I did there except for get scolded. And I know Josh is gonna be like, dude, are you ever gonna get over that? No, I'm not gonna ever get over that. Yeah. But it just bothered me that it's like, it was like we were like, just boom, he just pounced on like a cat, you know what I mean? Like just, boom, you know what I mean? Like a cat on a mouse, you know what I mean? It's just, it seems like that seems to be, for whatever reason, and I'm not sure, I feel like, and maybe it's, his track record in the past, maybe he feels like he needs to be ultra aggressive and squelch this as quick as possible, because clearly they think that our strings are being pulled by WCR, which is absolutely ridiculous. And, Tim's inbox is just on fire, like nonstop this whole time. People are just really, really roasting Tim. I feel bad for Tim. They won't come to me and say anything to me because they know how I roll. So, yeah. But I just didn't like the tactics. I mean, he kept bringing up the fact that, he mentioned that he gave Tim a poll, and then Tim was like, well, you gave me a poll and I came down and I worked your show. Like, I worked your booth. You know what I mean? Yeah. showing off the prototypes that Richie made for the show. And if it was anything like Kansas City, Missouri, you were probably working round the clock to get them fucking done for the show anyways. Because I know before you showed up to Kansas City, Missouri, you had a prototype for a new model of something that I was pissed I didn't get to see. But I know you were still sewing on that the day before you came to Kansas City. He's, and then he brought, the fact up that he sent us 4 gunslingers, sent me a Plus B and a window weapon, which I've been very open about on the podcast and in social media about, he gave me that shit for free. He mentioned that you had given me $150 towards my Plus B. I'm not saying that I wasn't compensated for what I did, but as far as promotion-wise goes, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is I'm not concerned. I wasn't concerned, and you knew who. I mean, you both knew who I was when we went into this. I'm kind of outspoken as it is, you know what I mean. And I told Perry that my integrity means more to me than anything, and if I do this, it's got to be. If I promote this, it's got to be right. You know what I mean. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to bullshit you. And I told you that when I got the first prototype, is that I'm not going to bullshit you on this. If it fucking sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. And you're like, all right, man, but I think you're going to like it. And you were right. I love it. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, that's what, I mean, Tim, when I first gave Tim the prototype, he says, look, I got my boy over here, Squeegee, that I want to give one to, but I got to be honest with you, man, he's not really, into,
it not be. I wear a detachable. I wear a detachable bucket is what it was, and he didn't think that I would like it because it wasn't detachable. He's like, "Well, it's not detachable," you know what I mean? And I was like, "Well, I'll give it a shot."
So, but he was saying maybe I shouldn't give it to TJ because he might give it a bad.
Right. There's a chance. There's a chance he might be a dick.
Yeah, pretty much. And I said, no, actually, I want that guy to have it. I didn't know who you were at the time. I go, I want him to have it because I want the harder to please they are, the more I want them to have it.
Right.
And so give it to him. And it turned out that you loved it. So,
yeah.
But all that stuff that went, like you said, I've been watching the social media, but I've been out of it. And
well, you kind of do that anyway. You've never been the type to interact on Facebook besides like, yeah, man, or do like the devil horns. That's all you ever really did anyways. But when you stop doing that, and you're just creeping, which is, I got to tell you, is just really weird that you just creep Facebook. Not really a fan of that.
All the time. I mean, because I want to stay up on what's going on. But I don't, I don't like to engage because sometimes it's just, it's pretty exhausting, but anyway, I think we should back this up a little bit because why are we even talking now? And the reason is because I felt like I got a hold of you. I said, hey, TJ, can I do a podcast with you? And you're like,
and I was like, fuck yeah.
After you told me, like, who are you? I don't even know. We went through that whole thing, and I
dude, it was like, listen, it was the best phone call I got in a long time. So whatever, dude, it was super sweet. I was like, yeah.
Well, I told you my reasons. I said, look, there's a lot of stuff going on. One of the reasons why I've been keeping my head really low is because of all the derision and all the, the soap opera going on the internet about Gunslinger and Perry and all the rest of that. And I thought,
which we are responsible for the most.
Yeah, and now you guys are on the WCR's payroll, apparently.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just got my first installment today, dude. I went out, bought a new car. It's super sweet. People are going to be super jealous. Whatever.
No, let me tell you, because we're recording this now, so I'll tell you what I told you on the phone. I was like, hey, TJ, I've been literally getting an email or two, plus multiple Facebook messages, text messages, phone calls every day since Kansas City, and it's just been more accumulative. I mean, it's become more and more and more, and everybody is asking me the same questions. Now, in light of the fact that, Perry did his video the other day, and And then last night I was watching a podcast and there Perry was on there, saying stuff, and I'm like, well, and everybody is asking me the same questions. They're all asking me the same stuff, and I've been a little bit ambiguous with a lot of them because, I just don't want to get into this he said, she said, all this kind of crap. And but after a while, I started thinking about it, especially after Perry put out his video. I'm one of you. Like, in other words, like, I'm not just like some manufacturer trying to peddle a product. I mean, I'm out cleaning glass every day. That's how I make my money. I'm not getting rich off a Gunslinger. Just not happening.
All right.
And I have made a lot of friends I've been cleaning windows. I started in the mid 80s. And, so you could just imagine how many friends I have that are window cleaners. And then, advent of social media and everything over the past decade. And I've just met a lot of people. And I just am friends, like literally, as kindred spirits. And what's happened with all this social media, this stuff going on with Gunslinger is something pretty remarkable in terms of, like, from where I stand. And that is, there are all these window cleaners that are behind me. They're all, coming out of the woodwork. I don't even know who they are. We love you, man. We got you. Like, got me for what? What do you got me for? But they're rallying to support me, and I thought that was pretty remarkable. And then based on all the text messages and the voice and all the stuff, I'm thinking, hey, I owe these guys an explanation. I just owe them an explanation. I at least owe them my side of the story, what's going on. And so that's why I wanted to do the podcast. So I don't even know where to start with it all, to tell you the truth. But one thing I do want to kind of stay away from is this whole berating of people. Because, like, I was making a joke earlier. Everything could be interpreted by people differently. Like, we sit there and you could say, well, my best friend has been punching me in the face every day since I was little.
Right.
And, somebody might interpret that and say, well, see, he's giving you all that attention. That means he loves you, right? Or somebody else might turn around and say, hey, he's abusing you. It's all this subjective kind of stuff.
Right.
And the truth is like, for a lot of people just don't like Perry. That's not a secret.
He's, someone passed me, not to cut you off, but someone forwarded me. I'll tell you who it was. It was Philip Alexander. He forwarded me privately this message, this email that he had that for once wasn't a bunch of fucking JavaScript and then a bunch of words and then looked like he typed it all out, but it was an actual link to a website in the Australia or whatever, to where he was a disgraced businessman. Perry Tate is at it again with some computer shit, which I read a little bit of it, and his past is his past, but I see what you're saying. There's kind of a I guess you'd say like a track record here of, like, consumer dissent when this guy is involved. And well, I know, I'm not trying to.
No, it is a bit, that's what I want to talk about. There's the track record. The record is the record, regardless of whether you like someone's personality or not. And I've gotten emailed this similar articles, actually several, about the computer thing. And then there was some, links to, threads and articles that Perry had, basically the same problems with his water-fed pole equipment over the years. And so this has been kind of a semi-consistent thing where Perry comes out with a product and then, gets everybody to pay for it so he could make it better and sell them the same thing 6 months later and then do the same thing with that.
That's where part of our frustration came from, because when I started doing the podcast and I started championing Reach It and their polls, I had, guys that are very active on social media, very well-respected window cleaners reaching out to me like, man, when this dude started out, that shit was junk. Are you sure it's cool? And I'm like, listen, man, I've been using this shit a while. I've had no problems with the stuff except for minor this and that's. That's kind of why I supported the Gunslinger, because, you know, Perry's on board. I thought it was going to be cool. But it seems that those concerns that those guys were like, you know, this dude's putting out another product. Are you sure it's going to be legit? You know, like, you're testing one thing. Is he going to make that same thing? Because he seems to, and it just seems to me like he puts something out to make some money, and then he takes that money and then makes it right, and then wants you to pay the money again. You know what I mean? So you're paying twice for what you should have paid for once, and I feel like, and that's another thing with the 30-day test drive. I'm not trying to shit on you, because I want you to make money. You know what I mean? But I also want the shit done right. You know what I mean? And I don't want no bad blood between you and I, or, you know, whatever. I mean, Perry's probably going to hate me forever, you know, because of my shit pants, but whatever. You know what I mean? But I feel like you're getting a raw deal. You know what I mean? Because you're a square dude. What I tested from you is badass. You know what I mean? And I feel like I made a friend with you and your wife when I met you guys. I call you guys friends. I mean that. You know. So what I've said is not malicious towards you. It's malicious towards what he's doing and how he's doing it, and the fact that window cleaners are the ones that are fucking paying for it, man.
Yeah.
You can understand that, right? I mean, you can understand that. Being one of us, you can understand our sentiment, right?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I agree with you. Okay, like Perry has a certain business model and approach to how he does things. Now, I don't. Do I necessarily agree with it? No. I mean, but it doesn't mean that. I mean, Perry gets to do what he wants to do. That's how he. That's how he rolls. And so,
okay.
I think from my perspective, like I said in the beginning when I first met Perry, I was in this situation where I had taken the product to several manufacturers, and it was really hard to make product, basically, and a lot of them just didn't want to touch it. Now, right before I decided I was going to work with Perry, there was one sewing factory here in town that made me a couple of prototypes. They had them done in a couple days. And there's one of them right here. They made me this, which was the original tip jar. This I didn't make this. There was a factory in town made this for me. Look at this thing. Yeah, it's flawless.
Yeah, it's solid as fuck.
Yeah. And they made me I don't have it right here in front of me, but they made me a Gunslinger too, it didn't have this front loop on it. That came later. And it was the same thing. It was solid.
That was my idea, man. I'm not trying to cut you off, Martin. That was my fucking idea. That front sling was T. Squeegee's idea. And so was putting the logos on them. That was my shit. You guys robbed me. I want a cut. WCR's paying me. I want you guys to pay me too.
You did suggest that. I'll just so everybody knows that having the
here.
The front
I'm going to try not to hurt myself.
It was T. Squeegee's idea. Yeah, you called it a hammer loop though. That's what you called it. Dude, you're not a carpenter anymore,
right,
man.
Right, I know. But you knew what I was talking about when I said it.
But anyway, back to the prototype. So it just happened that I had to kiss a lot of frogs before I met the prince kind of thing. And it just happened to coincide at the time when I finally found that sew factory here in town. They're like, oh yeah, we got this. Boom. I mean, they literally had that. I mean, maybe it was 3 days. I don't know. They were just prototypes. And I didn't give them anything except I gave them a prototype. And by the way, the tip jar and the Gunslinger are the same thing. I mean, the design has changed since the beginning. I mean, because before I met Perry, I was calling it the tip jar. The Gunslinger is just a different name for it.
Well, he had mentioned that he wanted to rebrand it.
Yeah, he wanted to
name-wise, yeah.
And the difference between the tip jar and the Gunslinger is that, I needed to make this chamber a little bigger in the front, and so I did that, and I wanted the strap mounted on the inside, instead of the outside like that. I mean, there were some modifications and stuff, but essentially it's the same thing. And I made several of these, about 4 of these original tip jar versions that are still in use, that people have. And I made about a dozen of this version, too, and they're still in use. You have one of these.
And actually,
2.
I have 2 of them. I have one with and one without. So I'm mailing that. Hey, you know what? Before I forget, I'm mailing you that my Gunslinger with the hammer loop on it, because I want you to check it out, see how it's worn out. Because only thing is, if I mail it to you, you got to promise to get it back to me like sometime in February, so I can fucking make my 1-year anniversary video with it. You can modify it if you want, make it cooler, stitch my name on it or something.
I'll take care of it. So, I mean, anyway, but back to the emails. What was happening is towards the end, especially these last few weeks, people were basically just coming straight out and saying, we don't care what Perry has to say. We want to know what you have to say. And I've been hiding out and everything, you know. And that, man, I mean, I'm not saying Perry doesn't have any supporters, because obviously he does. But it just seemed like this onslaught, this overwhelming onslaught of people that were just coming to me. And I started feeling kind of bad. I'm like, you know, I owe you guys some answers.
Well, you know? You feel that you owe the window cleaning community, especially the guys that have bought the Gunslinger, an explanation as to what was going on, especially Perry's public video, his display last night on YouTube. But before you do all that, I just want to tell you that me and Tim and Mark, we apologize to you and your wife. I'm not apologizing to Perry because I feel like he's a douchebag, and I know you don't want me to say stuff like that, but I apologize to you for any undue stress that we've caused you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everyone
to apologize for, man, because
I know, but still,
I
want to.
Appreciate it. But like, honestly, I've been watching your videos and I've been listening to what you're saying, and you know, if I thought you were like just being just a malevolent asshole for no reason, and you didn't know what you were talking about, I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you.
Yeah, true. All right. Yeah,
I mean, you know, it's only slander if it's not the truth, right?
Yes.
And you guys all the stuff that you guys are talking about is literally all the stuff that I've been dealing with right from the very beginning. Right from the very beginning, when the first ones got in people's hands, the email started. And, you know.
Is that something that, I mean, not to cut you off again, but, you know, I want this to be concise. And if you're going to tell your side of the story, I want to make sure that there's no party lines that are blurred here or anything. But you're saying was that correspondence something that Perry was also aware of?
Yeah. Like, because that's one of the things. Like, when
the mounting dissent of, you know, this thing ain't fucking working the way it's been advertised. It's doing this, this, and that. He knew about that from jump, correct?
Yeah. And so what I was presented with in the beginning, when I first met Perry, there was a lot of hype, a lot of talk about, you know, and promises and this and that. And Perry's a talker, you know. Mm-hmm. And what started to happen is we agreed to work together. That was the first. And then several months later, we actually finally signed an agreement together. But this is after Perry, you know, when he did the IWCA thing in Florida, he was taking pre-orders right out the gate. And, yeah, and I rushed these floor models. That's what they were. I mean, I wouldn't even use them myself. I mean, he said he just needed something to show somebody. And I literally whipped those things together in a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that they actually work better than some of the production models he's making even today. And those were like together, man. I mean, he said one of them leaks or something. I'm like, okay, whatever, man. So I just like, but I mean, in fairness to Perry, because like I said, I don't want to, I mean, Perry, I don't know what
as
other
much
people...
as much as I want you to fucking shit on him, I know you won't. You know what I mean? You're such a good dude. You know,
Well, no,
this whole situation is fucked up. You know,
I can't read people's minds. You know, like
Yeah.
all I can do is just like, you know, look at the record.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the record, look at the record, look at the record. And, you know, at the time when I first started working with Perry, I didn't have a record to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I was going on, you know, his winning personality and promises. And, you know, he's, in fairness to him, I mean, Perry, I don't think, like, it's easy to villainize people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I don't want to do that. It's, you know, it's just, and it's no secret. I mean, because Perry, in his video the other night, said, well, Richie and I are all working through things. And then on your podcast last night, he goes, Richie and I are cool now. Essentially, that implies that at some point we weren't, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a secret at this point. I mean, everybody knows that Perry and I are having issues, disagreements about stuff. And I thought, you know, well, since it's not a secret, I'm just going to talk.
You might as well say something about it, yeah. You know, so you're talking about taking pre-orders and shit, and you know these things are coming out, and you're getting emails about, you know, this thing's not working the way. So he essentially takes the pre-orders. You guys do the pre-orders. He gets a test model. I'm assuming he gets blueprints or something like that. Did he get anything to?
Hey, yeah,
I'm sure there's steps here, right? You know what I mean?
You know, and like I said, there's arguments that could be made either way about all this stuff. But what I did was, let me back up a little. When I took these prototypes down to this local sew factory down here, it's just about 15 miles from my house, right? Mm-hmm. They made the prototypes for me in 3 days. I didn't give them anything. I didn't give them a template. I didn't give them a blueprint. I didn't give them a how-to video. Nothing. I just gave them the prototype. And I was like surprised when they called me and said they're ready. And I came down and I looked at them like, these things kick ass, you know. But by that time, I had already started to talk to Perry, and I was thinking like, well, you know, Perry's in the window cleaning business already. He's got distribution. He's got, you know, I don't want to do, because that was the whole reason why I went to Perry, is because I didn't want to spend all this time on it making them. Because I got a full-time business to run. And I thought, screw it, you know, I'll take, you know, 10% or whatever he's going to give me, and then he keep the rest. Who cares? You know, I don't have to look at it anymore. This is what I was thinking. And then, you know, but Perry's like, well, I did have other ideas. I go, well, I got this, I got that, I get, you know, we could do this, we could do that. And, but what happened instead was, right as soon as we started working, you know, systematically, one thing at a time, Perry started coming to me with stuff, and they were having some problems, and I gave them blueprints. Perry says, well, the blueprints aren't right. I go, how can the blueprints not be right? I gave them to a professional that's been doing this for 30 years, right? I gave them all the templates, the same ones I sent to you in China, and they just made them in the blueprints. Okay, well, and what about the templates? What about the prototypes? What about the 30 how to make a gunslinger from start to finish videos that I sent you? You know, like, what else do you need?
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, like, and plus he was here in San Diego filming me making them. You know, so he took his own video and everything. And so he started coming to me and saying, hey, look, you know, we can't get this kind of glue. We're going to have to make our own. I'm like, okay. Then the next, it was like, well, you know, these stabilizers, this ABS stabilizers you use, and we can't get those. We can only get this polystyrene. I'm like, okay, this binding that you're using, we can't get, you know, we're going to have to use it. Okay, these buckles, we can't get the same kind of buckle. And it just went on, you know. And just like,
to me,
thing at a time.
It sounds to me like you were you compromised quite a bit.
I did, admittedly, you know, but see, here's the situation. I was in this situation. I go, okay, I'm this far invested into it, and I'm still trusting Perry. I'm still Team Perry, right? And I'm like, and I'm supporting. I'm like, okay, well, these are substitution materials. They're not really what the specs call out for, but based on what he's able to resource there, what he was telling me anyway.
So it is fair to say that what was substituted and built was not what was tested. So it was not his version was not vetted. Did you receive a Gunslinger after it was built to try it out before he started selling them?
That's another source of contention that started between Perry and I. It's like I was like, hey, look, man, I need to see these things before you go into production. And that didn't happen. I didn't see what they were making over there, and he just made like 1,000 of them or 1,500. I don't know how many he made. I'm like, dude, this isn't good. And then I'm telling him, and I go, look, man, I think we're setting ourselves up for like a serious shitstorm here. Like in 6 months, these things aren't, people are going to start complaining about them, this and that. And Perry would go into this.
What a bit of foreshadowing you had there.
Well, I mean, and I understand he's a businessman and he's a salesman and all this stuff. And
I do too.
But he said, well, this is the nature of product development and this is blah, blah, blah. And like all these kind of eloquent things that you would say to somebody that's uneducated and doesn't have a marketing degree or whatever, I mean, it all sounds good. Okay. Meanwhile,
he is a wordsmith. He's very charismatic.
So I'm sitting here and I'm still cleaning windows every day. I still got to pay my bills. I still got to take care of my wife. I'm still coming home. And then, so what happened is the first several months, this went on for months. Instead of me really focusing on making new prototypes, what I ended up doing was recreating the wheel with Perry, because he was like, well, can we take a little bit of the arch out of the loop there because it's harder to sew. It's harder for them to sew. If we kind of took some of the radius out, they could sew them faster. I'm like, no, because then the squeegees are going to fall out, I mean, we had like these kind of arguments, and the squeegees, the radius was I'm still not right as far as I'm concerned, but, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I was trying to,
we were talking about compromise in materials, and, I brought up compromise because you were talking about,
I mean, in Perry's defense, there's a certain amount of stuff. I mean, there are tons and tons of import-export restrictions over there in China, and they have a whole different mentality. It's a socialism. It's not like where we live. I mean, their whole work ethic is different and everything, and they just don't think how we think about stuff. And I started to realize that. And anyway, the point is like they were having problems putting this stuff together in spite of the templates, in spite of the prototypes, in spite of the videos, in spite of the blueprints, and I spent the first half a dozen months just trying to troubleshoot the problems that they were having over there. I mean, it was this time that I could have been spending on other stuff. And then they still ended up, like I said, by that time he had already made 1,000 of them. And as far as I was concerned, they weren't made right. But he had the inventory and he had to sell it. And so he's selling it. And then here comes the sponge video. Here comes the patch video. Here comes let me send you a kit to fix I'm sorry, your thing is.
The most commonly heard of complaint that guys were sending me after I sent them to Perry or you, the most commonly referred to thing was like, take it to a cobbler. And it's just like, guys are like, what the fuck? I paid $100 fucking for this, and I got to take it to some dude to fucking fix it.
I was talking to Perry about it. I said, look, man, you can't charge people $100 and then tell them to take it to a shoemaker. Like, you just can't do that. I mean, why? Well, now that we're going into, I think there's a design flaw, and there's this and there's that. And at first, I said, you know what? You're right, Perry. This is a design flaw. I probably should have not folded this into the seam, this top slot, and sewed it in there. And then, because I'm that's just kind of like how kind of guy I am, like where I'm quick to throw myself under the bus because I want to take ownership I want to sweep up my side of the street. I don't want to, be, but then, what happens is sometimes I do that stuff prematurely and it's uncalled for because I started thinking about it, all these guys that had my prototypes and none of them had any of these problems. And
I'm still fucking using both mine, so whatever's whatever.
It wasn't. And I finally just got, somebody said something to me. I don't know if it was you or somebody. They go, dude, there's not a design flaw.
That was me. That was me, because there was a comment. There was a comment made about like in October, like late October, early November, when we were counting down the days when how long it was going to take Mark to get his fucking shit from Perry. It's like 54 or 53 days. I can't remember how long, but somebody had mentioned something about their Gunslinger leaking, and then Perry got on and said it was a design flaw, and then and then I said, dude, it's not a design flaw. I have no fucking problems with mine. I don't have to stick a fucking sponge in mine to get it to stop splashing. And then he was like, well, the issue really, the problem is the guys that tested this used short mops. So essentially passing the buck off onto us. It's like, dude, you weren't even paying attention to the videos and shit that we were producing for the product that you're making. Tim doesn't even use 99% of Tim's Gunslinger footage. He's got a fucking mop this big in his fucking Gunslinger. I don't want to hear that shit. Just a little culpability, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So,
I mean, from a business standpoint, I understand the predicament. I think Perry gets a little bit overexcited, and he pulls the trigger a little too fast. He lets the horses out of the corral. I'm kind of like a little bit more conservative when it comes to that. And so what ended up happening is Perry had all these gunslingers, and slowly but surely, over the course of time, the accumulation of, like Perry says, well, we have a 5.5% return rate. Yeah, that's the actual maybe numbers that you've actually had to replace. But what about the other 30 or 40% that they're getting splashed with, or the belts are coming loose, or they have some other issue with them, or they're leaking?
I felt like that. I agree. I feel like that's a trumped up number as well.
Just because they didn't actually ask for a replacement doesn't mean that that's your defect ratio. He's trying to say that the 5.5% is his defect ratio, and I'm saying no, that's not. Your defect ratio is up here, well over 20%. I mean, that's being conservative. So there was that. So we started kind of like, over a time, and that's and like dealing with Perry. Anybody that has any kind of business dealings with Perry over any other time, it's like trying to catch smoke with your hands, and that's what I felt like. I felt powerless after a while with things, and that's part of the reason why I just started, because the shitstorm, the tidal wave started coming in, just like I predicted, I go, Perry, man, we're going to be pissing up a rope here pretty soon, and we're going to have a hard time climbing out of this. I go, yeah, so, but I mean,
you guys communicated. I mean, I'm assuming quite a bit then.
Perry and I talked almost every day. I haven't talked to Perry in probably close to 3 months now, because I can't. I finally said to them, I go, look, Perry, we are obviously having because we had some problems with the money too. That's a whole nother story, right? And I finally said to him, I said, look, we obviously cannot agree upon what we talk about verbally. So from here on out, everything's going to be an email. I got to get everything written down with you because, and so that's a whole nother story. I mean, his emails are just as circular as his
I gotta tell you, the fucking, that fucking, there's that one part right there really fucking chaps my fucking ass, dude. So, but I don't want to put you in a position where you're talking about things you don't want to talk about, you know what I mean? But
yeah, I think I'm kind of going on a bit of a tangent here. I'm sorry, because I'm a bit passionate about this. You got to remember,
I can understand that because of how much time I know personally, and I can say this, and I know that it's truthful 100%. I can go out there right now and grab my lady and have her come in here and she can attest to this. I spent hours from February to fucking September on the phone with you at night talking about the Gunslinger. Hey man, look at this. Hey man, look at that. Not necessarily the Gunslinger, but working on prototypes. And honestly, I don't know where the fuck... First, I don't know where you got the time because you're cleaning windows and you're doing this. I always asked you when you slept. I don't know how you can afford to fucking buy all the shit you were buying, because every fucking time I seen you, you were making something new. You know what I mean? You were, I have to try this, I have to test this. You know what I mean? And you were trying to get them ready for Kansas City, Missouri, because you told me then, and I'm not afraid to say this. You told me then that there was some pressure there to bring a new product to Kansas City, Missouri. And I'll be honest with you, I told you, and you know this, I told you back in August, I was like, why are you working on something? Because I know there was a lot of people out there that were like, this isn't cool because it's big and it does this and it splashes. You need to make a smaller one so it doesn't. But I was like, the big one works fucking fine if it is put together the way that it was. You don't need to make a new one. Just make it the way the fuck it was before. Now, I could see possibly making something smaller for the European market or for resi guys like Tim, that don't carry big tools. I could see that. And I could see where you were going with that. But I just don't see where you got the time, the fucking money, or the rest. I don't know. I didn't know how you did it. Well, I mean, that's all you did.
The labor involved with it is just, I didn't get any money for that. That's just all on me. I started Perry asked me to start invoicing him for materials. And right from the beginning. And you remember that
so he was funding your the prototyping, or no? Yes. Well, that's what the invoicing is for, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he asked me to start invoicing him for materials from the beginning, and he talked about it in front of you and Tim before he did a podcast. And
that did happen. That's cool. Then I mean, at least he's funding the prototyping.
Yeah, but let me finish telling you what happened. And then when he was out here in San Diego, we talked about it openly in front of Hydra. And so, I mean, I wasn't, and then came time for him to give me royalties. He says, well, I'm going to take this $5,500 in materials because it accumulated over the course of 9 months or however long, right? And I go, what? Oh, man, I go, that's.
What do you mean?
That ain't my royalties, man. I'm doing this because I'm here working every night trying to make new prototypes.
Dude.
Right?
Come on, man.
And this is, well, I mean, this is what I meant about verbal stuff. These were just all verbal agreements. And so Perry, basically, I had a fight with Perry tooth and nail for 2 months in these circular emails to try to get money out of him. And he initially offered me like $600. And I'm like, kick rocks, dude. No way. That's not happening. And then the night before, I actually got money from him. He had sent me an email that says, well, how about $200, and we're going to take this other $3,500 over here and keep this under review, and I'll get back to you on that. And then what happened is there was this burst of social media stuff that was on fire. It was literally on fire. I mean,
if I'm remembering correctly, it's because we had just gotten to the fucking point where we were fucking. It seemed like no matter what came up about the Gunslinger, he would duck, dodge, and fucking weave it. And it started to piss us off because now guys are like, man, looking at us like we're a bunch of fucking assholes. You're not saying shit.
Yeah,
you're not coming to our defense. Perry's not coming to our defense. We're on the fucking ropes here. And, he's fucking playing fucking Inspector Gadget in the background. It's like, what the fuck, man?
And so there was a bunch of stuff going on with the money. And, again, there was a verbal agreement. I was going to have access to the e-commerce site and his Spotify or whatever. And then come time, because, I mean, up until this point, he was sending me Excel spreadsheets. And I'm like, dude, I can make one of these and put anything I want in here. Like, how am I going to verify this stuff, Right. And then I asked him about the e-commerce, and he just scoffed at me, or just ignored the whole thing. And I mean, at that point, I was kind of like, all right, I fucked myself because I didn't get this in writing. I took the licensing agreement down to attorneys. I mean, and it's very, very one-sided. In other words, Perry's got the first right of refusal on everything. And when I had an attorney look at it, he goes, look, this is kind of one-sided, this agreement, but based on the relationship that you guys have, because I was telling him, oh, it's great, and I trust him, and he's a good guy, and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. He goes, you'll be all right. You got this minimum thing here and this and that. And he goes, just, go for it. I mean, it's not like I knew I was basically convincing my attorney that I was doing this with a good buddy, more or less, and it's all good, and I trust him.
I just want to clear something up because you kind of got a little flustered there. I feel like you want to you said something and you're like, man, should I have said that? You kind of, I just, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but just me, and I know people are going to be like, why didn't you ask him more questions? But I need to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because I had mentioned on a podcast before that if I would be fucking super mad, and so what you're saying is, what you're saying is correct. What you just said was, and it's funny actually because it's fucking crazy. Yeah. Are you telling me that you were paying for the materials and the labor that you were doing for prototypes for him to make money off of? Is that what you're saying right now?
That's what,
dude, what the fuck, man?
He was telling me. He was trying to sell it to me, and I go, look, man, I haven't charged you.
Can I ask you, where do you get your constitution, sir? Because if he would have said that to me, I would have got on fucking social media and been like, poop on him.
I don't want to get into a mudslinging match about Perry. I mean, for whatever reasons, he's okay with his ethical practices, and a lot of people might be taken back by that. And he gets to be who he wants to be.
Right.
Where I'm at fault with this whole thing is I was stupid in terms of I should have took my time with the contract. I should have added more stipulations. And finally, at one point, Perry was talking about liquidating and splitting up the money, and there were some other things that went down. And I go, okay, and then he's like, well, no, let's not do that the next day. And I'm kind of like, all right, well, I just want to, can we just null and void this contract? Because it's obviously, you're pleading poverty here. You're not making money. I'm not making money. This is, the social media is like not loving what's being produced here. But that's not true because there are a lot of guys that love them. Okay, but what about all the emails I'm getting every day? And he says, well, you're just looking at the negative. I go, what do you want me to look at? You're charging $100. We're not talking about two gunslingers here.
And not only that, not to fucking, be a douche or nothing, but your name's on the back of this fucking thing, dude.
My name's on the back of it. None of those gunslingers are broken or leaking or splashing water that I paid for all these other guys. Did I just get lucky? Maybe I just got lucky and I put it.
Yeah, and that's, and that seems to be the sentiment. A lot of guys are like, well, mine doesn't do this. I must be lucky. And it's really a sarcastic undertone. It's like, so essentially what we're doing is fucking saying like, this is a good design, but Perry, it's not being carried out properly. You know what I mean? And, therefore, what we're saying is because it's about reach we're making up stories and we're telling fucking lies. And that's not the case because I want to see this do well. I do, because I do want to see it do well. Why would anyone that has been involved in this, with the, our side testing and, doing a lot of promotion for the thing and you designing it and taking it to Perry and Perry taking it on to try to do it. Why wouldn't all of us want it to do well?
Right. Exactly.
I don't want to see you fucking not make no fucking money. I want you to be able to fund more prototyping for Perry to make more money. You got
Well, so like it said, came time to get royalties. He was like, well, I'm going to charge you this against your royalties.
That's fucked up. I can see why you're upset then.
And I'm like, no, you're not, dude. And then he baited me into this. So I actually went through and he tried to cheese. So I flew Richie and Hydrid out to KC. Well, you tried to discharge me for that because that was one of the invoices I sent you for. And you wanted to charge me this, $600 for this alligator skin because you had me make Paul Collum of Alligator Gunslinger. I'm not paying for that. And then I got myself into this little bait with him and I, tried to bump the number up. And then I sent them the invoice, and I realized after like a week or so, because he didn't pay it anyway, I go, you know what? No, he owes me this much, not this much. I got hooked into this bait over materials, and I feel like I was set up because he knew.
Just tit for tat.
Yeah, and I go, no, the materials don't have anything to do with this. That's not me. That's you, bro. This is how much you owe me on the thing. And so there was that whole thing that went down with the money, and this is all the stuff that has given me pause to deal with Perry, because now I'm at the point where, all right, I don't trust this guy because he's tried to manipulate me out of money, and why would I want to trust somebody that has just done that? And then he'll gaslight you.
So,
you know,
I mean, not to, you know, and I'm not not jumping at his defense here or anything, but have you
wait a minute.
received...
Answer my question, man. Do you know what gaslighting is?
Gaslighting? No, that's an unfamiliar term.
Yeah, it's a psychological term. It's used to describe when somebody tells you a lie and then they try to convince you that it's not a lie.
I do that all the time.
Perry lied to me. I mean, I think like in his mind, like sometimes Perry, I don't know. I don't want to defend it either, but you know, maybe he doesn't remember.
Well, dude, listen, man, you can't defend that. That's fucked up. It is. It's fucked up.
And because I don't have it in writing, I can't, you know, and that's why I started emailing with him. You know, I'm like, okay, dude, this is getting way out of control, man. I don't have time for this. I got a full-time business to run. I got domestic issues, or not issues, but responsibilities. I got things going on. I got a social life. I mean, and now I'm spending all this time, you know.
On this, so you're just totally consumed with it.
Yeah, when initially I just wanted to say, hey, here's the patent.
You might as well be fucking making them, you know.
Huh?
You said you might at this point. What you're saying
right.
is I might as well be fucking making the things, you know.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
And all the while, Perry's asking me, well, make me a video and do this and make me videos and keep sending me videos. I go, no, that's not my job. I mean, but the thing, I did it anyway. I went and did live streams with them. I sent them videos. I did all this, you know, and it was exhausting. And after a while, I go, you know what? This is not what I signed on for. I want 100% if I'm going to be doing all this, you know.
Have you been compensated?
Well, then finally, what happened is he wasn't going to give me the money that, according to the spreadsheets. Now, I'm just going by the spreadsheets, which at this point I'm starting to question too, because I don't have access to the e-commerce, right? He finally sent me most of it, and it was not, you know, there's still some based on the spreadsheets that he owes me, but it was because I feel like he got.
Is it social? Hey, is it fucking?
Got pressured into it, man.
Is it because we were all fucking roasting him? Because hey, man, it could be.
I'm not exactly sure, but just suddenly, without any explanation. But nothing. There just magically money appeared in my like 30 minutes after your podcast. Actually, I think.
Oh shit!
Yes. Appeared in my podcast, right? I was like, all right, I don't know what that's all about. But I mean, I think like Perry, like that video he did was a bit somber, and it was a bit.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I felt like he was reading somebody's eulogy, man. It's just like, dude, come on, bro. I mean, you know what I mean? Come on, man.
He's bombing about it, and like, but I was on board with Perry, like you know that. I mean, I was
dude. I know because
Perry and all this kind of stuff, and then after a while, I finally got to the point with all the emails day in, day out of failed gunslingers, leaky gunslingers, splashing this and that, right? And Perry's kept minimize, right? And I finally got to the point where I said, Perry, I can't get behind this anymore. I told him that in the email. I said, I just can't get behind this anymore. It's too much. It's not this, 5% that you're talking about. There's way, way more going on than that. And, so.
I mean, he seems to be to the point where now, after his video's been released, he's been talking about it. He's, clearly, I mean, he went media silent for 2 months. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's kicked the fucking door down and he's like all over the place now. It seems like, I don't know if he's grasping at straws or if he's really making a valiant effort to make it right. I know he's doing the try it for 30 days deal and all that shit. And they've made, he sent me an email today. Well, I don't know if I got it. It might be an automated one. I'm not saying he sent me an email like a a heartfelt, like, hey, buddy, let's try to, because he knows I ain't trying to hear that shit. The only thing I'm concerned with right now is you not being mad at me, and I'm glad that you aren't and you came on here, but it seems like and I've seen they've sewn a piece of rubber on the bottom of it. They've riveted the fucking...
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, he's got guys, he's sending gunslingers to guys to modify my design. I go, wait a minute. I'm the designer. Like, this shit gets approved through me. Who told you to sew the buckles on the outside? Who told you that? Not me. Why would you do that?
Right.
Now everybody's getting buckles sewn on the outside. I'm like, okay, there has to be some sort of, and so finally what happened is the emails had become circular with all this kind of stuff. So, we're talking about money. We're talking about materials. We're talking about construction protocols. We're talking about, customer service, people just getting run around, like a customer service. And it's all this hit and miss stuff. It was just like with the poles, like, yeah, there are some people, I know 3 guys in San Diego that got those poles and the clamps fell off, the reach poles, and the brushes came apart and they just chucked them. They never asked for a refund or anything. They don't have time. They don't have time. They're cleaning windows full time. They just go and they bought a garden.
That's
whatever.
Yeah, but that's his fucking thing. You're like, hey man, this is fucked up on my pole, and then there's this diatribe of fucking let's get down to the crux of the issue. No, I just listen. The fucking thumb screw keeps fucking stripping, dickhead. Just send me another one. It's fucking brand new.
At this point, like some people might sit there and say, Richie Blue, how can you sound ungrateful? And Perry took your design and he brought it alive and this and that. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. All the work and time and headaches and effort, I could have been making these myself and with no problems and just doing the money on. I mean, I don't need all the headaches. I just don't need it. And it's not that I'm ungrateful to Perry, but at the same time,
you're just a little ungrateful at the process. The process is just...
Well, it's a culmination of multitudes of things. It's like the old expression, the straw that breaks the camel's back. You put one on and 2 and you keep adding straws on it. And that's with this, in retrospect, I look at it and I just feel like the Quasimodo, I'm like carrying around all this shit. And I'm like, dude, come on. Enough is enough. I can't be culpable for this. I can't market it. I can't make videos for you. I can't put it together for you. I can't keep, that's your job.
As far as marketing goes, I'm, not to bust his balls or nothing, but
there
wasn't even a whole lot of that going on, dude.
You guys were the only ones that were marketing this thing. I mean, beating a drum about it. I mean, like consistently. And you were running around putting out fires for him, which, nobody knows about that. When the Gunslinger first came out, people were calling you. And they were saying, hey, TJ, this, hey, TJ, I got all the phone calls from you. I got all the messages, and like me, had faith in the process.
Yes. And
you were like trying to help out and you were out stamping out fires and everything. And I think honestly, there's some plausibility to that, in terms of, especially if it's a new product, it's a handmade product. But I think about like, what about these bags systems that they, like Mormon makes and Unger and these other things that Zorbo puts together to hold squeegees? They're all stitched and handmade. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, maybe the Gunslinger's a little more complicated in some aspects, but, it's not like they got a plethora of people calling them and saying, well, there's a defect, and then Unger calls you back and says, well, take it over to the cobbler and have him restitch that corner for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, no, that bag costs $20. The Gunslinger costs $100. Like, we can't do that. That's not cool, man. My name's on that shit.
Yeah. So, there's that.
I mean, I'm sorry.
I mean, and this is, and I don't want this to turn in, because I don't want you to look bad. I know you're frustrated with the whole process, and I also know that you've got a fire had to have been lit under your ass, because I haven't really spoke to you a whole bunch, and then that video drops, and then last night after the podcast, you sent me a text message about, hey man, I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, are you gonna be busy? I'm like, nah, probably not. Give me a call. And then you were like, let's do a podcast. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. You know what I mean? You know, so I knew.
People said it's only because people have been consistently asking me to this, Richie, we need to hear from you. Richie, we need to hear from you. And I'd be honest, like, I don't know about, rules and regulations and legalities and what's cool to say and what's not cool to say. All I could do is just get on here, be honest. I'm a blue collar worker. That's it, man. I make my money cleaning windows, and I just being honest, and I got tired of like hiding out and trying to offer up excuses. And at one point I was like, you know what? I'm making up excuses for Perry. That's what I'm doing. And I'm defending him. And that's what I'm doing. And it's like, Perry's not doing anything.
The reason why I'm smiling at that is because I was doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah. He's sipping on whatever his favorite drink is over in, wherever he's at now, and in his dance clubs and wherever he does. I don't know what Perry does, man, but like, he's not sitting here, he doesn't have his gloves on in the ring, except he comes out with a burst of, a fury every now and again.
I would say it's more like comes around the corner with a bat and whacks somebody over the head and then rides back around the corner. That's my personal opinion. I would have, listen, I'll tell you this. I would have, if he would have came to me privately and said, let's get together, do a podcast and, try to, squelch some of this. Cause, and that was the main reason why I wanted to do this with you when you said, hey, what do you think about this? Now, like, I'm dropping everything. Whenever you're fucking ready, let me know and I'll hop on Skype. And that's what happened here. What?
I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Hold that thought.
Okay. Richie just left to go spend his own hard-earned money. I want everyone to know that if you thought at all that this has, that we've been wound up and doing things because someone else is in the background, namely that 3-letter organization that sells window cleaning tools online, you were wrong. You're wrong. We knew there was something wrong with our buddy because he wouldn't talk to us no more. And I'm telling you, when I say I spoke to this dude every day from February to August, at least 2 hours a night, that's the truth. That's not a lie. That's the truth. I spent a lot of time talking to this dude. I meet him and his wife in Kansas City. It was like one of the awesomest moments I've had of 2018. Meeting Hydrid, Richie, and Mark Tanner was probably like one of the best things that has happened to me in a really long fucking time. You know what I mean? They're good people. And when you have a relationship with someone, you meet someone and you kind of, get a rapport with them, and then they just drop off the face of the earth and won't speak to you.
That's what I did to you.
Yeah, that's what I was telling the audience here. You start to ask questions, you know what I mean? And then shit starts happening with the product, and then the manufacturer starts dropping you under the bus, and everybody's like, well, why are you guys talking about that? How dare you speak up and say anything? First of all, my buddy isn't saying nothing online, and everyone is fucking roasting his product, so I'm standing up for him. You know what I mean? Second of all, the guy that manufactured the fucking thing is not producing what we tested. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, oh, well, WCR must have put you up to this. No, fuckhead. My buddy stopped fucking talking to me. The manufacturer threw us under the fucking bus, and we had enough. And I wasn't going to let Richie get drugged through the fucking mud because I knew he wasn't going to say nothing, clearly, because I'm trying to get this dude to like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? Hey, what are you doing? And it's like, nothing, I'm too busy, man. I got shit going on. That's not the dude I met fucking back in February. That's not the guy. Clearly, there's something wrong because when he's not talking to me, he's not talking to Tim, he's not talking to Mark, he's not talking to anyone. All of the sudden, I mean, there's clearly something's the matter. Then Perry's like, hey, man, you guys didn't test it right. This is you know what I mean? And it's like, fuck that, man. I'm not going to let the window cleaners that watch our show and are members of our group be the beta testers for something that was already fucking beta tested.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what's happened. He made 1,000 of these wrong and just keeps selling them. That's what he was doing. He made 1,000 wrong and sold them. And that's fucked up, man. That's period. That's fucked up.
Well, I mean,
explain that away. I mean, you know, I don't want you to, but I mean, how can you explain that away? There is something wrong with it. I know he likes to like, oh, we're crowdsourced. Well, then I tell you what, this is what you do. If you want to crowdsource ideas to get them bulletproof for market, then fucking start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
This is my idea. Are you down to give me money for this? Yes. No. Don't. This is awesome. It's the best thing ever. These fucking window cleaners that have been doing this 75 years combined experience think this thing is great. Buy it. And then everybody in the industry gets it and they're like, this thing's a hunk of shit. These guys are fucking morons. You know what I'm saying? How long did you guys want to, how long did the team reach it? And I say that in a broad sense of the term because the dudes that have come out of the woodwork in our fucking inbox is unbelievable. Especially the one dude in England I've spoke to twice. Now he's in, you know, he's just freaking out everywhere on everybody. Where were you guys at? Where were you guys at before? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how long did you expect us to take it on the fucking chin for this dude? You might want to go out and let him, you know, everyone bend you over in his honor. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Integrity is the main thing here, guys. And if you especially in a small industry like this, if you don't have any and you sell your soul for fucking rock and roll, nobody's going to believe anything you got to say anymore, man. You can't do that, dude. We had to defend ourselves. I had to defend my friend. And if nobody likes that, then don't like me. Click unsubscribe, block me on Facebook, and go fuck your uncle. There you go.
Yeah. And
I have no regrets. No regrets.
And then, I mean, obviously you have been one of the most outspoken people about what you're saying, but it's not just you. Like, it's like a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people feel the same way, and they kind of have the same view as you, and they're telling me privately or, you know, with phone calls or emails or whatever. And it's not a small percentage of people. It's not like some lynch mob. I mean, there's not like a bunch of people standing there with pitchforks and torches saying, let's go burn Perry. Although, like, that's how it's being presented. And it's just, I think that everybody, the support I've received has been sane, balanced, legitimate. You know, they're just like, dude, we got you, and we understand what's going on.
It's not been the Philip Alexander fucking. I don't know. Do you see any of the shit Philip Alexander posts in the group when it comes to Perry? Have you ever seen any of that shit?
Some of it, yeah.
Fucking believable, man. And I don't even want to know. I mean, I'm not. You say you've been creeping the Facebooks, but you know, you might want. I don't know if you talked to Jason Lehman or not, but if you need to tell him to relax. That he's like, he's hard body karate, bro. Whatever impression you made on Jason Lehman in Kansas City, Missouri, it paid off because he is your champion, dude.
I read one of his comments, and, you know, of course, I'm in a room by myself. I'm on. There's nobody on, and I went like this, like somebody was.
I think there was a couple of them that were just like, dude, I even messaged him privately. I'm like, dude, come on, man. That is fucking rough, dude. But he was the first one. Jason Lehman. This is why I bring it up. And, you know, this goes back a little bit to our conversation, to what you said. And I feel I'm very, very passionate about this because of what you gave me to test out. Jason was one of the first people to mention why, and Mark also brought it up on the podcast, why are dudes getting gunslingers to modify?
Yeah.
You can't even get the fucking one that we tested fucking right. Now you got all these dudes like, hey, I got a fix for this, I got a fix for that. I mean, who the fuck? I'm not saying these guys aren't intelligent or are not good at doing things, but when it comes right down to it, it says Gunslinger designed by Richie Blue on the back for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
Is there a patent? Is there a patent on this product?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Who owns that? Who owns that? You or Perry?
That's me.
Okay.
Well, Perry told me that the patent is just a bluff. What? And
a lot of manufacturers feel that way, you know? They do.
Yeah. Well, it just makes me feel like set up like, first there's a design flaw. This is the narrative that's being written. And then all the patents are bluff now. And then I just feel like I'm getting set up for the slaughter here. At some point, this is all going to turn around on me, and Richie Blue he's unreasonable. He's disgruntled. He's hard to work with. He's whatever, you know what I mean? He gave us a bad design, and I'm just thinking like, really, dude, is this where we're going with this? Is this how far we're going to take this? I can't, and then that coupled with, like I said, the hair, the straws being piled on one after another, month after month after month.
It becomes a lot, man.
Yeah, and then the onslaught
I don't know how you've remained as calm as you have. I do not, man. You are a fucking oak of a man. I'm telling you, man. You really are, dude. You are, dude.
I mean, I have a support system here at home. I mean, I got people that, like Randy from Window Magic Supply.
Right there down at the bottom of the screen. Do they still have gunslingers?
She does. Yeah, she has gunslingers.
Buy gunslingers from Richie's friend, Window Magic Supply. She's got some there. Buy some from her, guys. Go there, buy them from her. She carries them because of Richie. Make Richie look good. He's got the self-esteem thing clearly.
Help
a brother out.
She's such a good lady. She's got everything. I mean, everybody that's talked to her thinks she's the sweetest thing since sliced bread. Even the guys at Raisinstein, the guys at talk to Chris about if you do. I don't know if you're on speaking terms with Chris or not. Sounds like you are these days.
Hey. And that's yeah. I mean, when I go collect my paycheck, I'll make sure to bring it up. Fucking ridiculous, man.
But anybody that talks to her, she's the sweetest thing since sliced bread, and her prices are super reasonable. She's got everything you could possibly think of. Plus, she has, if you do screen repairs or anything like that, she's got all the screen material supplies you need.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's something I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So she's cool, and she sells water-fed poles, too. She's got a couple different brands over there. I think Unger and Tucker and maybe another one. So she's got that and brushes and, just whatever you need.
When you brought her up brought up Window Magic Supply on the podcast like 9,000 years ago, you had mentioned her, and I went and browsed the site, and that's when you were like, she carries Gunslinger. She's the only other person besides Perry that has them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been... go buy them from. I don't know if anybody knows that. You know what I mean? That she's got them. You know what I mean? And I went and checked the site, and there's, they got guns. I mean, just, reach out to the lady and get one. You know what I mean? She's got them. Buy them.
Well, she's got a little, I mean, it's not just an online business. I mean, she's got a brick and mortar store, so you can walk into, so her warehouse is in the back. Where she, and then she ships, obviously, but then, she's got the...
Are those on consignment, or did she have to pay for them?
Well, that was another thing. That was another source of contention. Perry sold her the Gunslingers at a premium. I mean, there's about this much margin in them. And then, he goes and he puts them on sale for $50. Now Randy's sitting there with all these Gunslingers that she paid more than $50 for them. You know what I mean? And or $75 for him, and now she's got all this. I just thought that was kind of like, hey man, come on, dude. Like, how about at least? Well, here's 5 Gunslingers. I know I discounted the price. Here's 5 Gunslingers to help you make up for
to make up the difference.
Yeah, not even a phone call.
Dudes, listen, guys, go to www.windowmagicsupply.com, and if you're looking for a gunslinger, you want to buy an extra one, you're a high-rolling window cleaner, and you're watching this show, go buy one of these gunslingers from this lady.
If you have as much money as Mark Tanner and Josh,
I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna buy one tonight. I'm gonna buy one tonight, and then I'm gonna give it away.
I told Randy, because you've been pretty cool about that. You put her link on the Podbean, the iTunes, the YouTube, and what's the other one?
I like the fact that you keep up with me, but won't fucking talk to me. You're like #stalker, Mr. Fucking Mr. What are you, the witness relocation program over here?
I can't believe I'm doing this video, but like I said, the only reason we're doing it is because I always wanted to keep my head down. I got to the point where I said, just take my minimum royalties every year, Perry, and just do whatever you want. Leave me alone. I'm going to go do some other stuff. And but like I said, I get the phone calls and the emails, and Louis from Superb Shine just sent me a text. I mean, they just keep coming in all day, and I just felt really moved to like say, hey, you guys, man, like, thanks.
Well, I really appreciate you doing this here, because to me personally, I feel like you coming here and doing this, it kind of makes me feel good about what I've said, because now I feel at least a little bit of validation. I know a lot of what I said, a lot of what I said was just me being a prick, you know what I mean? But, that if anyone watches our, whatever, Richie, well, I see that. Listen, we have our own brand of the way we do things, and sometimes it may be a little rough around the edges. That I will admit. That, but it works. I mean, I'm not saying that, you said 30 minutes afterwards there was some money in your, maybe that was the catalyst. I don't know. Shit, I'm starting to think it was. I'm starting to pop my collar, boy. Yeah.
It was, man. You got to remember, there are a lot of religiously inclined people in the window cleaning industry, and I think that Outlaw Window Cleaner Radio is probably rated R. That's safe to say, right?
Yeah.
And some guys just they don't roll with that, so that's cool. I mean, I understand.
Hey, man,
I like it. I like them all. I watch all the podcasts, and
all right.
Some people find it good, your podcast good, and some people think it's not, and that's just the way it is, So
hey, man,
I like it.
You do.
I like it. I think it's cool. There's some
I think it's cool. Whatever, dude.
Sometimes you gotta wait for it. Sometimes you gotta sit there for 30 minutes before, but then it's worth the wait. Something cool happens.
I've gotten a lot of emails, and I ask dudes, like, can you send me an email and the only thing they send me emails about is like bitching, you know what I mean? Like, where's the Bigfoot moment? Why didn't you talk about this? It's like, what the fuck?
Dude, here's the thing with the Bigfoot moment. I think it's great, but you should have like an intro theme music played, and then, flash to a new screen just for the moment, whether it's a UFO sighting or a Bigfoot moment. And then, that's my input, So
you're saying I should expand the Bigfoot moment to include other things?
Well, maybe, or at least have a theme song so people know it's coming, kind of like a drum roll or whatever.
It's kind of like the opening to X-Files, so people know some spooky shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
I'll get my man Crazy Kimberlin from Crazy Kimberlin's Opinions to work on me a spooky kind of thing for me. A little an intro for the Bigfoot moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
right. Then you can have a video section or something. This was the footage that was taken, and you can put it up and say,
right.
come
well, now with my new software.
Give me your thoughts at ST Squeegee, weigh in and give me your thoughts and whatever,
Well, listen, this is what's cool is now with my new software that I do the live with, I can actually play video during the podcast live, so we can watch a little bit of video and discuss. So, I mean, there's we can, that's a good idea, Richie. He's all like, So,
well, let's finish the whole saga here, so everybody, because I want to get all my experience out with this. So, because I want to talk about the other side of this, because it seems right now I've been painting like a pretty dark picture of things. Maybe that's how some people are taking it. But to finish it up with the darkness, I asked Perry at one point, because he was thinking about liquidating and this and that, and he's always complaining. He goes, I'm losing money on this and yak, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just go our separate ways. And then finally, when I asked him straight out, I go, look, you're not happy, I'm not happy. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you how to operate your business or try to invoke my own business ethics on you or my morality. I mean, that's your business. But apparently we're not seeing eye to eye here. So let me go. Just let me go. You go your way and I'll go. And he said, no. No. Like, there's no divorce here. That's actually, that's what he said. We don't have a divorce. I go, okay. If that's the case, then we got to reestablish some things. We got to make a couple of addendums to, no, I'm not changing anything on the license, because licensing agreement is incredibly one-sided, man. I don't have any wiggle room in there to do anything. And that's my fault, so now I got to live with it. I made my bed. I got to sleep with it. And I'm not asking anybody to sympathize with me. I was basically stupid. Okay. So now, but, enter Casper. Black Diamond. Now, Casper hitched his wagon to Perry not too long ago with the Black Diamond rubber and everything. And to all accounts, as far as I know, Casper's a decent man. I respect him. He seems pretty intelligent.
Yeah, I like Casper a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And and Casper doesn't have this history, this dark history that I know of, looming over his head, and Perry's got he's talking about Perry made a couple.
All he cares about is rubber.
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about Perry made a couple mistakes. We're talking about a long track record of dissatisfied people, and it's not a small percentage. And a lot of people that, like, Philip Alexander, I mean, who knows? I mean, if his stories are true or not. Yeah. This stuff with Chris and WCR, who knows if his stories are true or not? I mean, the stuff with Jay Racenstein, who knows if his stories are true? The guys with Detroit Spun, who knows? All these people that have had dealings with Perry, just to name a few, that have had, left him with a bad taste in their mouth. I mean, my question is can they all be wrong? Are all of them wrong? I don't know. I can't prove anything. I just look at this. And so Casper comes in and he's seems pretty nice. He goes, look, I really want to see this thing work out between you and Perry. I'm offering up myself as a mediator for you guys, and that's kind of where it's at now. Perry mentioned in the podcast last night that me and Richie are all good. Well, no, me and Richie aren't all good. I haven't talked to you in 3 months, Perry, and I have an arbitrator I have to talk to now, or a mediator, because you and I aren't seeing eye to eye. I don't know how that translates into you and I are all good. But I mean, in the interest of a last-ditch effort, I'm trying to work with Casper to see if I could, get some things changed, because under the current conditions of how things are going between Perry and I can't see myself wanting to stay, like I said, I wanted to unhitch my wagon completely. Perry doesn't want to let me go. So now I'm forced to work in the parameters of this situation.
Your agreement.
Yeah, I made my bed. I got to sleep in it, is kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. I had a conversation with Casper yesterday, the day before. I can't remember. We're talking, and it's kind of sucks that it's come to this point where we have to actually have somebody mediate between us because we can't seem to work things out. I mean, like I said, our emails the last 3 months have just been circular. There's not, he's draw a line in the sand.
You say circular, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
right. So just each reply and return reply is just like one more fucking no, yes, no. You know what I mean? So you're at an impasse. You're at an impasse essentially.
Pretty much. Yeah. Now it's getting on to the other side of things. I mean, you look at what Perry did. He took on the product, but I mean, all this whole narrative about, we're one big happy family, and I'm this magnanimous guy that I'm doing Richie Blue a favor, and I'm just, that's partially, maybe not all I'm sure there's some elements to that, but, Perry's is a businessman. And if he doesn't see some sort of numbers in this thing, he has no motivation to stay in it. Why would he? Right. Why would I?
Well, that's funny because did you see my video of what Eric Bland posted about? You know who Eric Bland is, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, he posted a video and he said that this guy doesn't need this product. He doesn't need to make this to make money. He can make hundreds of thousands of dollars of selling. If that's the case, then
he's right.
why the fuck? Yeah, I mean, and if he is right, that's great. But if you're not doing it right, you're taking a lot of fucking heat for it. And from what you're saying, you're like, hey man, let's just fucking call it a wash, and we'll just move on from here. And if he's not letting go, that doesn't sound like that's the fucking case. I'm not putting words in your mouth or whatever, but it just, from the narrative that is out there, it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Perry talks a lot about, he uses elegant words like the long game. Mm-hmm. And, okay, dude, maybe I don't have a master's degree in marketing, but I don't live under a rock either. And you're talking about a market that is about this big. It's about the size of a quarter. I mean, it's a very small niche industry.
Okay, Tim Huber.
Yeah.
That's Tim Huber's favorite word is niche. Tim Huber's his favorite word is niche. By the way, did you see that Tim got his channel back? Ooh. The Outlaw Window Cleaner channel? Channel that he got it back. Yeah.
What is going kudos
on? Kudos to. Go ahead.
Let me finish what I was saying. Put the Outlaw Window Cleaner channel on hold here. So, you got Tim's link down there in the bottom, by the way? So
yeah, it's right there in the bottom left, right here. OutlawWindowCleaner.com. What you want from me, player?
Because I want to hear about this, but let me just
go ahead.
Up a second. What was I saying? Because I want to finish what I was saying.
I don't know what you were saying.
Come on,
I forgot
man.
Too. Come on, man.
I was just saying something.
Were you saying something that was important? Is this an important podcast that I keep interrupting?
You're interrupting me.
You should have known. You should have known. Getting on with Squeegee, you should have asked for someone else. You should have asked for Mark.
Yeah. I was trying to think of what I was just talking about. What was I just talking about, man?
What were you just?
Oh, the agreement and okay. So the long game and the short game. So I'm thinking like Perry. There is not going to be a long game if you can't have a short game. So in other words, in order to have a long game, you have to have a short game. And if your short game is what's going on, there isn't going to be a long game because nobody's going to continue to buy this stuff. Oh, we're improving it. Oh, and you might trickle along with sales, but I mean, come on, man. We're alienated from 50% of the market out there right now because people because of your track record and your reputation, and B, concerning, this whole crowdsourcing, making something marginal, putting it out there, getting it back, putting something else out there.
I mean, not to be like rude or nothing, but you're like kind of bleeding. You're kind of bleeding the window cleaners dry. You know what I mean? You're like, like here's a little bit, here's a little bit, here's a little bit, instead of just giving them what they paid for the first time. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, it's very disingenuous, man.
And I realize that it can't be perfect, but I mean, I think personally,
I get that too.
A lot of things could have been sidesteps. Like if I got to inspect the gunslingers, if I got a few of those prototypes that were making from the factory before he went and made these 1,000 or 1,500, maybe some of this could have been avoided. I'm just saying, maybe.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it. So there's that. Now, the whole thing is well, the past is the past, and let's not focus on the negative. And I mean, these kind of things, I've been hearing lately, and I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I'm tired of, like, Louis just texted me, and he's like, are you going to the IWCA? Because it's out here in San Diego next month, the IWCA. And I'm like, no. And he's like, why not? I go, Louis, do I really got to explain that to you, man? I mean, like, I'm getting, like, hammered here, like left and right. I mean, all the shit going down with the Gunslinger, and I'm not only am I getting calls and emails, and I mean, not that I'm some rock star, I'm going to walk into IWCA and I'm going to get rushed or something, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the questions and the people asking me stuff. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, and plus conventions aren't my thing anyway. I mean, even if
Are you making me? I mean, because now I feel like shit. I feel like shit now because you're like, all this shit with the Gunslinger. It's like, that's what you get for trying to be cool.
It's not just you guys, man. I mean, I got guys that are completely unaffiliated with WCR and Outlaw that are calling me. I mean, I get messages through Instagram, through Facebook, through text message, through phone calls. I got 2 different emails I keep getting, and these guys they're not, I mean, some of these guys aren't even on social media. They don't have a YouTube channel or nothing. You know, like, it's like, come on, man. Why do you feel bad? You should feel bad.
I feel, because I'm not saying I'm the one, but I'm one of the people that are like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean?
Well, you are
again. I mean, yeah, well, listen, man. Listen, I feel like I'm not trying to burn you. I'm not trying to burn you because the whole time I stand behind what you gave me. I stand behind it 110%, and I will to the very, very end, Richie. I hope you know that, man.
No, you're not, and that's the only reason. That's the reason why we're talking. Because, like I said, I've been watching everything, and if I didn't agree with everything you were saying, or at least most of it, I mean, like we wouldn't be having this conversation. Okay. If I thought you had some sort of weird motive, dude, I'm here to say that what you've been saying is true.
For the most part,
for at
least what we are aware of, anyway.
Yeah, and I can't.
I appreciate that, Richie.
Yeah. So anyway, I think and then getting on the other side of this, like with Perry, because I still want to hear about Tim's channel, by the way. So we'll talk about that in closing, maybe. But I think Perry, I don't know what he's doing, like with the video. I mean, it seems like at first. Face value, it seems like he's being sincere, and I don't know. Like at this point, I question everything. I'm like, okay, well, give the guy a chance or whatever, and but I have this whole track record I look at too, and I go, okay, well, this has been done before, so we'll see what happens. I think we're all allowed to make mistakes, Perry included, and he did do his best, I think, with the Gunslinger, and I think maybe given some more time he could maybe do things better. But I also have this thing in the back of my mind that, well, I've heard this before, and so have hundreds of other guys with the water-fed poles and the brushes and all the other stuff he's made, and I'm like, and I'm just like, I'm just disheartened, man. I don't have a lot of faith in stuff at this point, and I think I have good cause.
Right. So you're pretty much of the stance that there's some things that you need to have ironed out for you to move forward. I mean, that's what the sentiment I'm getting from you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't blame you for that, man. Because I mean, if it's that one-sided of an agreement and he just refuses to, I mean, because I know. Because I've seen, and nobody knows, but I've seen another style of gunslinger type tool belt, or not tool belt, but tool holster, and I mean that's probably something we're not going to see develop any further because of this situation. You know what I mean? And if he's gonna just hold your head under the water and just be like, listen, I'm not gonna make any concessions to this, even in light of everything that's happened. There's going to be no concessions here. I mean, that's a fucking travesty, man, really, because I think you're a brilliant dude, man. You're a fucking tinkerer, and you're a smart guy, and I'm not trying to make you feel good about yourself, but you are. You're a smart dude, man, and you've got awesome fucking ideas, man, and that Gunslinger that you sent me is fucking beast mode, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, I did give Perry, like I said, a couple prototypes in Kansas City, and I said, look, these aren't ready. Don't go into production on them. There's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done with them. I just wanted to give you a basic concept here so I could show what I was working on. But I wouldn't be surprised if he just started trying to make them, and but because I don't get to look at this stuff before it goes out, and that's one of my beefs with this whole thing. One. I have several, but
we've covered your beefs, and I don't want you to have to rehash, and because I feel like what you said was concise. It was on point. It was your truth as you know it. And who better to explain that than you, because you lived it. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I feel like I don't feel like you stepped over any boundaries that were already stepped over in that fucking video that he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
the
money issue, all of these fucking things. He put all that shit out there. You know what I mean? So it's only right that you get to tell your side of it.
Like, hey, dude, the finances are kind of private. Why are you telling everybody how much money, like, whatever, man. I mean, maybe in his mind, he felt like he needed to do that, but I'm like, all right, fair enough. Whatever. I don't care, because I'm an open book. Like, I'm not hiding anything. I'll even show you the porn channels I go to. Right. I mean, I don't care. Hey. Just the older you get, the less you give a fuck.
Right. Well, in closing, wait
a minute, we didn't get about Tim's channel.
I'm getting ready to. You just fucking interrupted me.
I'm excited.
Which is only fair, because I did it to you like 20 times. Yeah. But Tim got his channel back. The original Outlaw Window Cleaner channel is back on YouTube. And if you're not a subscriber and you're a subscriber to his new channel, if you look, the old channel is Outlaw Window Cleaner. The new channel is The Outlaw Window Cleaner. Search Outlaw Window Cleaner if you're not a subscriber, and sub up that bitch. And if you already are, sub up to his other channel, The Outlaw Window Cleaner. Luke, he and Tim, of course, it's no mystery that the two of them did not see eye to eye. Luke was like, you know what, dude, I made that thing for you. You're shitting on me. Bam, I'll take it from you. You know what I'm saying? Boom, motherfucker. And he did that, but he's spent, and I can't imagine how, because Tim told me what he had to do. Because Tim's like, this is what he's got to do for me to get my fucking channel back. And I don't know if this dude's going to put the time in to do this. Yeah. Luke fucking copied the URL for every fucking video on that channel and went in and submitted it to YouTube with a fucking, he's got to submit the video URL, then give a reason why he wants it to come back, the whole 9 yards. He did that on every fucking video. So I'm going to say publicly now, Luke, I'm done busting your fucking balls. The shirt's gone. I pulled down my Luke the Window Cleaner's a fucking douchebag video, all of that shit. As far as I'm concerned, Luke's good. I'm done fucking hating on him. You know what I mean?
Dude,
I appreciate you doing the right thing and doing Tim a solid and putting in that work and getting that channel back, because it was the right thing to do. I know, like I said, people do things in anger. You know what I mean? And when people get desperate, they do things that they normally wouldn't do, and they wouldn't normally spend an inordinate amount of time on. You know what I'm saying? And that he may be a victim of that. Not everyone is the stone Richie Blue and just lay there like a fucking rock and just let people keep walking over him. You know what I mean? So,
me,
again,
man.
kudos to fucking Luke. And like I said, go check out Tim's. He's got two channels now. The original 1,400 subscription channel, the Outlaw Window Cleaner, and then his other channel, The Outlaw Window Cleaner. He's not sure what he's going to do yet. He's just kind of glad that the saga is over, and everyone can move on from all of this. And people are kind of giving, and I'm going to touch on this too, since we're talking, and it's come up a couple of times. Our dealings with WCR and me having my public profile, the Squeegee, profile that I made for the podcast, being in the pro window cleaning group, and me trying to, I wasn't trying to iron out shit with Chris Lambrinides, and it was more along the lines of, let's, we want to work, make shit cool between Luke and Tim and us, and and he just happened to be a mediator, of course, you know what I mean? And he's like, let's, why don't you come join the group, and we'll do this, and we'll just try to show that we're trying, at least we'll try, at least give this a shot, and stop all this fucking bickering. And it probably helped a little bit that we were fucking roasting Perry, because we all know there's no love lost there. And to be honest with you guys, the very first message he sent me was, I fucking told you guys. You know, I told you guys about that dude. And I was like, listen, I'm not here for I told you so's. Let's just fucking move past this, because really the podcast needs not so much for viewership, but just for continuity and topics. There's a lot of people in that group. There's clearly a lot of people in that group. There's a lot goes on in there. And being cut off and shut off from that much consumerism and, you know, the window cleaning community as a whole, which is on social media, is difficult. You know what I mean? Because I'll be honest, man, I really ramped up my fucking approach to all of this that's been going on. After I got into pro window cleaning, I start seeing these fucking threads of Gunslingers falling apart. This thing's a fucking piece of shit. Da-da-da-da-da. And then I'm on there like, listen, man, you know, I tested this and I'm getting fucking like, you fucking do. We know who you are. Oh! You know, I was Frankenstein was running up the fucking steps. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, they were coming after me, bro. You know what I mean? That's a lot. We you know, that takes a lot to swallow your fucking pride and be like, listen, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I might have judged you unfairly. You were a solid ass dude. Gave me a fucking $400 refund on something I bought 2 fucking years ago just to be like, yo, listen, dude, I didn't know you got a fucking bad deal customer service wise. Here's your fucking money. You know what I mean? Stop being a dick, Chris. You know, that's essentially what Chris was, and not so many words in his letter to me with the check. You know, hey, stop. You know, maybe you could stop being an asshole now. You know, hey. You know, and I did ease back a little bit, but, you know, there was a couple of instances there where shit just got a little weird, and I'm just like, man, what is going on with this dude? You know what I mean? But in the same way Perry gets vilified, I feel like those guys get a little vilified too, and then, you know, industry leaders and big names in the industry like Lee Burbridge, for instance, will get on and be like, oh, you WCR guys are just the worst things that ever fucking, you know, boo, 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 boo. So and this is where I kind of, like, I agree with what you're saying, and I never really thought about it like this before. If WCR is like, man, this guy's, you know, there's something up with this dude, you know, he's got to work on some shit. He's clearly not doing shit the right way.
Yeah.
Nobody carries anything. Detroit Sponge, J.C. Racenstein, Windows 101 liquidated all their shit for pennies on a dollar. I know dudes that got shit like dirty dirt cheap, like Jason Lehman, for instance. All these window cleaning supply houses will not touch any of his shit. And he, you know, to me, that speaks to something. I mean, like you said, they can't all be wrong. There's got to be something there. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to take the good with the bad, and you got to be objective about this. You can't just run around your whole life with Perry Tate colored glasses, and that's my inference for rose colored glasses. You've got to look at this objectively, man. There's something going on there a little bit, you know. And now that we've got another guy here that's just like, hey, man, there's, you know, it's kind of hard to. I'm reaching at smoke all the time, you know. So hopefully that video was fucking genuine, which I strongly, like I said in my video, I just don't have any faith that he will. But it's, you know, to me it was lip service. It, you know, it seemed rehearsed. He was reading from a script like it was prepared. You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, you know what I mean? And they'll be like, oh, I just wanted to make sure I covered all my points. Or you just wanted to make sure you didn't say, because we all know, because Harrison said 1,000 times, you got to rein him in because he's always fucking off on something, you know. You got to start to wonder, is there something to this? And then stop giving people the benefit of the doubt all the time.
Everybody has different experiences, too. Like for example, my experience with Lee Burbridge, like that guy's never said a bad word to me. I mean, he's always been cordial and friendly, and you know, I don't got nothing against Lee, but other people have had experience with him the opposite, and I think that's my point is that like with Perry, you know, there's this hit and miss on you get a good gunslinger, and this one's not. But I mean, it's fine. Not everybody's going to have a great customer experience. For example, with any company, whether it's, you know, Gardner or Unger or whoever is making, you know, but that's like this much. those things happen. People that have their shit together, you're going to have a customer service horror story with somebody. But, let's look over here at the 10,000 people that didn't.
Right.
But with Reach It, it's not, those ratios don't apply. They just don't. I mean, there's I don't even want to go into that, man. That's a whole other stuff, But
it just, and and I don't want to leave the Lee Burbridge point without a period here. I didn't have anything against the dude at all. I actually was going to have Lee on the podcast. He was actually going to be a guest this past Saturday. And with everything that's going on, he decided that, you know what, fuck that. I'm going to get in the group and be like, you lads don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're WCR puppets, just like out of fucking nowhere. You know what I mean? And we were rock stars, and everybody loved us on the Reach It side of the fence before we spoke up and said, hey, man, something's not going right here. It's not fucking cool. And now we're vilified for it. You know what I mean? And I'll take it on the chin. Cool. Whatever, bro. Because, at the end of the day, when I'm going to still be cleaning windows and still doing my thing, the relationships that I developed and nurtured along the way, and the lines that I've drawn in the sand will carry me out, and we'll see who's where and who's what by that time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to please anyone but the guys that fucking value my opinion, and I have to be transparent. I can't, we for several months tried to keep this all, not under wraps, but tried to keep it reined in and tried to give as much feedback as possible. Anytime anybody reached out to this, bam, I hit right. I'm like, listen, I'll hit Perry up. I'll send it to Perry and Richie, and they'll both know. I mean, I was super solid with all of that fucking shit. And a lot of guys were super cool about not, listen, I don't want to throw these guys under the bus, but I'm having a problem. I'm like, listen, cool, dude.
You weren't on the payroll. You weren't on the payroll.
No, not on the payroll.
That's a customer service job description you're talking about. And you didn't get paid for any of that. You were just trying to, why? Because you really wanted to see the product succeed. You wanted to give Reach It a chance.
I believed in you. I believed in you, and I believed in what you gave me.
So there's that. I mean, and like I said, I don't think anything that you've been saying on these podcasts, like I said, it's only slander if it's not true. I'm sitting here thinking like, all right, well, I got, that hurt, but that's true. The truth hurts. I had a Greek guy.
I don't want to, I didn't say that, and I knew when I was saying the shit that I said that it was going to have an effect on you. And I mean, I'm not, Perry threw it up my face that you kicked in 150 for my plus B. The truth finally came out on the podcast. You and Mark kept that a secret from me because I know you both were trying to lobby for me to get one.
Well, you kept complaining about it, dude. Like I don't have a plus B. Like, well, fucking buy one, dude. Like, Like,
right.
So
well, no, listen. Well, there's more to that story than that I let on. I was sold the A and the C, so it is what it is. Anyways, just like I was sold the 2 bronze brushes, and then fucking 2 weeks later he came out with a whole bunch of improvements after I bought the fucking junk ones. But I know me, I don't get over shit. Yeah, whatever. We're done. But, listen, guys, I just wanted to come on and do this special. I know it's not a regular podcast. It's not live. Guys are going to be like, man, I wanted to ask Richie questions. Listen, that's the same reason why I didn't let Perry on, because I don't want this to get out of hand. I don't want it to turn into a mudslinging contest and, fuck Perry, fuck Richie, yay Richie, yay Perry. I didn't want it to turn into that. That's why we recorded this. I wanted to give Richie a platform in which to do his thing. You know what I mean? And Richie's not a very social media active dude. So if he posted a video on his fucking Facebook page, maybe 2 people will see it. This will get around. People will see it. So,
And I want to thank you for that, because I really did. My whole motive for getting on here was basically to answer all of these questions that people have been asking me directly, in whether phone calls, emails, however they've been trying to get a hold of me. And I think I covered everything to the best of my ability. And I'm just in hopes that, hey, maybe now that they understand and see what's going on, and
maybe some of the bullshit will stop. Well, I can tell you now, man, I hope you come to some kind of impasse with all of this. I'm sticking with hashtag Richie Blue, but I understand you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? I understand that.
Is that the one? Or I saw hashtags. Hashtag free Richie Blue.
Hashtag. Yeah. Hashtag Richie Blue. Yeah. I mean, I said, dude, you guys just, I wanted to give Richie an opportunity to tell his side, and I really feel like you did that, and I think you did it in a nice way. I know some of this may hurt a little bit for Perry and Reach It. I know that, but I feel like unless it's transparent and it's both sides are heard, and maybe then you guys could coalesce, or cut your losses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, everybody should be given the opportunity to mend things. If they want, if it's genuine and sincere, then I'm all about it. If it's not,
then
the
Makeup Podcast.
Oh yeah, I know.
Richie and Perry are making up. Possibly Luke and Tim made up. I mean, what are we? Yeah. We gonna start touching wieners now? We're gonna play swords.
Well, that's why Mark's not here. It's just me and you.
Well, I'll tell everyone this. In the absence of me and Richie been talking on WeChat, I'm super glad that I don't have to look at his bathroom anymore and listen the ceiling of his bathroom and listen to Richie squeeze out a pee. Hey man. Yeah. I'm like, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to the bathroom. I was like, you're taking me with me? He's like, yeah, you're not going to see nothing.
Yeah. Right?
All you're going to see is the ceiling. Relax. Yeah. So, Richie, man, I want to tell you, man, we here at Outlaw Window Cleaner, we love you. I would love to see you. It would be cool to get you on the podcast like we used to every now and then and just shoot the shit and have fun. And hopefully you can move on. And you know what I'm pulling for, but like I said, you got to do what you got to do, player. But I just want you to do, I want you to do you and do it the best way you can. You know what I'm saying? I want you to do Richie Blue the best way you can, man. I
appreciate it, and I appreciate all the support. I mean, it's been, like I said, it's been remarkable. I mean, it's just overwhelming. I mean, I got fans that I didn't even know. I mean, I didn't even know there was that many people in the window cleaning community, dude.
Right.
We got you, man. And I'm like, what do you got me for? I mean, I don't know. Am I going into? I felt like I was going into like the prize ring or something. Whatever. It's kind of like that. But
it's good, man.
It was cool. It was good. It was a good feeling because it made me double think about a lot of stuff. Like, because it's not just about disappointing somebody. It's about, letting down like a lot of people that really want to see the product do well. And so,
because I'll say it again, man, it's revolutionary. It's a fucking game changer. If you guys come to terms on, and I'm sure you've got fucking terms for this moving forward with you. First of all, I would stop fucking making all these stupid fucking changes to it and address the fucking issue at hand, that it's not being put together correctly. All these fucking Band-Aids that are being tossed on it are unneeded. The step up of the materials, I agree with that. Thank you for, saying, hey, I'm going to put better materials in there. I'm going to add this rubber guard for guys that are short and they kneel down and scrape it. We're going to put these rivets on to make sure it doesn't rip anymore at the belt line. Great. But to be handing them out to folks to make mods to and all that shit, just stick to what the fuck it should have been in the beginning, and it'll kick ass. Everyone deserves it. You know what I mean? Everyone deserves it. It could be
the wrong idea out there, TJ. I mean, like, anything can be improved. Anything.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not saying there's not room for improvement on the product. My whole beef with it is like, let's get up to ground zero first. Right now we're in the red, like on the way it's supposed to be put together. So we get up to ground zero, and then we can go from there. There are some good things that happen with this whole. It's like, there are some things like would I have done some things differently with the Gunslinger in terms of its current design, had I known some of the stuff I know? Yeah, probably. And maybe if we get to that point or whatever, maybe those can be implemented or not. I don't know. But I just don't see, at this point, it's a lot of damage has been done.
Yeah, I understand.
And I just I don't know if the bell can be unrung at this point. So we'll see.
Right. Well, Richie, man, we've been at this for 2 hours. You already know how I feel about you. You're like you're the cooler than the other side of the fucking pillow.
Thanks.
I want to make sure. Hey, can you please can we text message each other and like a little bit here and there? Are you going back into witness relocation? Is that what you're about to do? Are you about to go ghost again? We all know you're not going to be on social media because that's just never been your bag. We all know that.
A summons in the mail from Richard saying I'm being or something.
That would be a fucking publicity nightmare. That would be the worst. I mean, because there's nothing you've said here that's slanderous or fucking. You know what I mean? This is all this. That's ridiculous. I don't see that happening. I don't think that'll happen. I honestly. I see maybe a mountainous effort to make this right, or and it's going to be a humongous fucking undertaking. It is. No matter what he wants to believe, that Casper, whoever is involved in all this, you guys. I mean, it's going to be a huge undertaking. Either it gets rectified, or you guys go your separate ways, and you guys just move on with life. You know what I mean? Either one. I think, I feel like it's coming, it's starting to build to that point. So no matter what, you have my support, Richie, and I know everyone else does. What else can you do than give a man some support? You know what I mean? And even with everything that's gone on, you're still at least, as far as what I can see, at least open to see if, hey man, if you can do this, I'm willing to do this. So you're at least trying, but you're not going to give an inch, and I don't blame you for that, because I feel like from what's produced, what you gave us, there's been a lot of giving there. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like you should give anymore. I think you deserve what you asked for, because I feel like you've delivered a solid product. He's made some money on it, and if there's improvements, the improvements that you want and he wants and the customer wants are met, then there's a lot of money to stand to be made here. You know what I mean? So go to www.windowmagicsupply.com and buy her stock of fucking Gunslingers, okay? And when you're done there, go to and other stuff too, because she sells squeegee rubber, squeegee channels, squeegee handles, screen repair materials. She sells the whole 9 yards. She sells it all, man.
Zorbo,
she sells it all. Sorbo, Eteray, Unger, all of it, man.
I think she's even got Stacconi and Pulex and just anything. She got it all.
Anything you can think of, guys. Go check it out. That's www.windowmagicsupply.com. Check it out, guys. Give her a call. That's what I would suggest you do. Go to her website. Find her phone number, see what kind of stuff they got on the website, and then give her a call, because I'm telling you, the customer experience will be fucking awesome. You will love it. Okay, she's a gem she's a peach. And when you're done doing that, go to www.outlawwindowcleaner.com. Go there and buy some t-shirts. Soon to be dick wind chimes. Soon to be barbecue rub. We're going hard body karate in 2019, guys. We're going to have Squeegee Life gear coming out. There's going to be some new shirts. You know what? I'm going to profit off of all of this. And I'm going to start a Richie Blue, self-esteem fund. I'm going to put out some Squeegee Life # free Richie Blue t-shirts. I'm just kidding. But go to outlawwindowcleaner.com and check us out, man. There's a bunch of cool stuff on there. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a review on iTunes. Richie's never done that. Leave us a fucking review on iTunes, a 5-star review. It really will help us out in the long run. Or Podbean. And go to Tim's, one of Tim's 2 channels, or both, and sub up, man. Outlaw Window Cleaner or The Outlaw Window Cleaner. Check it all out, guys. We will be back Wednesday with another episode, most likely live, because that's the way we like to do it. And we'll get down with the getting it down. And for the rest of the gang and Richie Blue, man, thanks a lot for listening. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, Richie, for coming on here. I really appreciate it, buddy.
All right,
Take
buddy.
it easy, man.
Bye.
Peace.